If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Today, sorry, Jan, it is 1:05. This is our first regular meeting of the Dwight School Building Committee, November 25th, 2025. If we could just real quick do a roll call. Present, I have Jason Lee, our representative from the Board of Ed, myself, Lauren Efron Chair. I have Nicole Olson, currently our secretary, and Dana Polizio. It's good. Thank you. Sorry.
I know, it's all those vowels.
No, it's okay. I'm going to get there. And those are the members of our building committee. Also present, we have Sal Morbido from the
Public Schools.
Fairfield Public Schools. I was going to say the operations department, but I know you have a different title. And Director of Construction, thank you. And Adam Tulin, thank you, from purchasing.
He signs checks.
And our recording secretary, Janaret, thank you for joining us. If we could all rise, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We should really appoint someone to lead it.
All you say is aye and then well followed.
As always, not that we have any members of the public, but I just want to recognize formally, in case there is ever anyone who chooses to dial in, now would be the time on our agenda for public comment. I'd ask you to state your name and let us know. But I don't believe that we do have anyone in online. No? Okay.
I think it usually shows if there are.
If there are on the like actual phone, not just via Zoom. Okay. We had someone during one of our meetings who like spoke up, so I just want to recognize it. Okay, moving on. Actually, this item is we're going to bypass until next week the approval of minutes. Jan is in the process of reviewing our past videos, and she's going to go through our backlog, and I think we're totally fine to wait, even though I know technically they need 7 days from our meeting to have our minutes posted. I looked back at some of the other building committees, and they're well a month in before they started posting their minutes. So that being said, we do have everything available online. It is recorded. You can listen in that way, and until such time we have minutes to approve, I'm going to skip over item number 5 for now. And that leads us to item number 6, to review and discuss evaluations of RFP submissions for project management oversight services with a purchasing department director, Adam Poulin. And I had listed here Lee Flaherty, but if she is not joining us today, that's okay. And obviously welcome Sal as well. I'm sorry, I was not aware you were going to be here in person to weigh in as well. But I think we're just looking for review of the evaluation process and what our next steps are from here.
Yeah, so if I could just kick it off with just some comments, maybe a suggestion, and then maybe Sal could weigh in too. So we had, as you know, we received 2 responses. There was a group of 5 members of the committee that that completed reviewing the 2 submissions.
Okay, does it matter how many?
No, 5 is a good number, but,
Okay.
well, yeah, I guess in terms of the size of the committee, but 5 should be sufficient.
5 is enough, okay.
Of those 5 completed evaluations, there's a pretty clear break.
Top contender. I think we
Yeah,
can say that.
so,
Okay.
I guess my question or what I'd like to pose to the committee is, so typically what we would do from here, if we maybe had gotten 3, 4, 5 submissions, is we would probably today determine a short list that we would then bring in for interviews. I think my suggestion I'm leaning more towards is, since there's such a clear distinction between the number 1 and the number 2, is that we could probably just move right on to just meeting with the top pick. Or Sal, do you have thoughts on how to make sure we
I
do
don't know
this
if legally, my question would be, is legally, are we bound to consider in person each bidder? Jason, I'm gonna recognize Jason Lee.
In the past, so this is new, right? In the past, if, let's say, 10 companies came in, you guys in purchasing, you guys would shrink it down for the committee. And then they would actually come in and present in person, and then we do the scorecard. So this is relatively new, with the scorecard first, and then the presentation second. But if the scorecard is showing one that's very favored based on, because what they're gonna present the same thing they submitted in theory. They can't change that, what we see differently, right, if they present. So if the submissions and those 5 people saw the submissions, and there's a clear picture, I think we're covered as far as selecting someone. Now, I would recommend if it was the architects, that it's something different, but there are only 2, right? And there is is there a big gap?
So can I say, yeah, I mean, the total evaluation was out of 120 points, just to keep it simple.
Okay.
And we had one firm get a score of 100, and this is a average, I
Possible
think.
120.
112.87 out of 120, and then the other one was 51.27
Wow.
out of 100.
Okay.
So there you go.
But I see, sorry.
Thank you. I'm gonna recognize Nicole.
Thank you.
To repeat
For
what
Jan's.
Lauren was asking, and I'm curious about this too, and you guys would have more experience with this stuff than I do. Because this is a publicly bid and it's a publicly funded, do we have to interview more than one to remain within legal parameters?
So, if I can jump in the past, there's certain professionals that you have to do a quality-based selection. It's not low bid wins, it's the whole package, and the price is one of the factors that you consider. You're considering the team, and they have somebody that's well-known for things like that, you can do that. You're allowed to shortlist, you're allowed to take all of the, what you receive and bring it down to a short list of not more than 4. That means you could have a short list of 3. You don't have to make 4, you don't have to. And an interview can be part of the process, but I don't believe it's required by statute. I don't believe interview, it just says that you're required to have a quality-based selection process.
So this is a quality-based selection process, to my knowledge. The new system that we're doing, and I don't know for sure, but I believe we are the first building committee to be using Bonfire and for at least this step, PMO. Maybe they use it for architects and CMs. However, I do worry if we don't meet them in person and give them the opportunity to then present, that we are shortchanging them. And I don't know what legal repercussions are at stake, but I want it to be clear why, not just from this Bonfire, which is somewhat subjective, right, individually, but that we had given them every opportunity to present themselves in the best light. Now, I truly felt, and I can just speak for myself here, that they're the lower scoring option, that their submittal had a lot of typos, sloppy copy and paste, things that I went and checked with references and confirmed were not correct numbers. That to me was enough of a red flag, but maybe whoever was compiling this submission for them is the person at fault here. And I wouldn't want to fault the people who are in charge for maybe an clerical error.
I think the people in charge are the ones that they're not looking it over.
I agree. I agree.
It was a very big difference from one to the other when you talk about just the first page. One said, "Dear Adam, members of the committee," this and that. The other one was, "To whom it may concern." So, You know,
And
it's,
in the first line, referred to it as the Dwight Childhood Center.
correct.
The Dwight
So-
School Childhood Center.
I-
It's not that. It is an elementary school plus childhood center,
I,
early childhood center.
I mean, I think you can just see,
I know.
I mean, it's,
But again, sorry, Sal wants to say
So-
something.
So just to clarify, the bonfire, the quality-based selection requirement for state picking the professionals, it's not something new, and it has nothing to do with bonfire. Bonfire.
To Fairfield, I mean.
No, it's not.
Well, bonfire
We've
is
done
the tool.
quality-based selection process since 2008, since the statute was put in place.
Okay.
It was put in place actually in 2007, changed in 2008. I don't know if there's been any changes to it since then. But building committees, you're not the first building committee to score a professional. You're just using an electronics means.
This is what
to
I'm
do-
saying. I don't mean that we're the first building.
No.
Of course not. But I'm saying we're the first one to use it through Bonfire.
But it-
Would they
it shouldn't
typically
be.
have the opportunity to come here if they were on that short list?
So the process is always, you can pick who you're going to shortlist and interview them. What I'm saying is, and Adam can confirm, I don't believe, and it's still up, I'm not saying to do one thing or the other. You can interview who you want, since you have such a short list to, if you shortlist, it's either one or two.
What I said, 'cause I feel like we're doing a lot of circle talking. My biggest concern is it fair to the company? Don't care, to be honest with you. I would, if I could sit here right now and say we're done based on numbers, I would. My question is, we are going to go to the state. We are going to ask the state for money. There are legal ramifications to every step we take. With the state funding in mind, let's say we hire option B, who had the higher score, or option A, I'm sorry, whatever it was. We did not interview anyone else. We get our state grant. Is the person who we did not select able to go up to the state and go, whoa, they cherry picked this, we think somebody's blah, blah, blah. Is that, or are we allowed to not talk to?
I'm just going
That's
to
what I'm
piggyback
concerned
on what Nicole is saying. My concern is also that there is a history of a relationship with Company A in this town, and I would not want it to appear that way. I want it to be a fair process.
So I would just add, as the members of the committee, as the committee chair, like that's certainly something you could do. What I wanted to just highlight is the scoring that has been completed to date to develop a shortlist is by the book. It's like we haven't shortcut anything. I guess to sort of play the other side, the language that I would be worried about is in the RFP, we have language saying that the building committee intends to review each RFP response and create a short list of proposers. Each shortlisted proposer selected will be interviewed by the selection committee.
it's your answer.
So the question is, are we shortlisting one or two?
Thank you. That clarifies everything.
I'd rather interview them both for the sake of safety and making sure that this is a open process and all that.
I agree.
You'd rather interview both.
I think we interview both.
I think you interview both. However, I think you let company B realize that if they are selected, there's potentially they cannot go any further. I mean, I would double check, right? Because that they can't go any further in the process, that they are just the owner's rep and they cannot.
And you're saying that because of the impression that
The
they might be
impression.
building.
And also because I spoke again to at least two references who on their projects, they operated in a different capacity, both as CM, not as project management oversight. And so if that is their goal, is to then, if they don't make this step, let's just say, on the other side of that, if they don't make this step, but they want to
still can.
reapply for the other,
They can.
and I would hope they would, maybe clean up their presentation a little bit the next time, but if they wanted to, they could. So maybe that conversation needs to be had, but I actually agree with Nicole and Dina. I think that, and Jason, I think we should at least interview both and allow them both the opportunity to pitch in person. If only so that we can kind of clarify maybe some of the misunderstandings that
I wouldn't even worry about that. I'm looking at it more as a butt Band-Aid.
Correct.
Cover your rear.
okay.
Cover your rear so that there can be no question, once everything is said and done and we're ready to start this process,
But it wasn't about-
someone else in the state can't raise their hand and go, we think there's something shady happening here.
I agree. Okay.
I mean, they're probably gonna watch this and realize that the interview that they're about to give is probably, it's gonna be a hard pressed one.
The second question then coming is, they both submitted something. And because we're public record, are we telling them to come in and present what they submitted? Or can they have the opportunity to go back and fix and add things and things like that
Well,
now?
I mean, it's actually an interesting question.
Can they modify?
The
Because
present,
we made comments in public about the presentation look, right? So,
this isn't a direct answer, but there will be a new separate scoring that will take place at the interview as opposed to what you have scored today. And just for, I did recently an engineering RFP for an unrelated project where the company that was highest ranked after the proposal phase did not end up being the highest ranked in the interview phase. So
that's what I'm saying. I would like to give an opportunity because sometimes, and I think we've all personally maybe gone down this road where a resume does not match who we are in person. If they were able to present maybe, I would say a different set of facts, but just maybe they in person have something else they want to offer.
well, they need then to present their presentation because we based our comments
Agreed.
on the first one. They can't make any changes then. They can't come in and say, hey, I heard this, so we're going to do this, right? Because it's an unfair advantage for whatever the case may
And they
be.
may have reasoning behind the mistakes. They, like you're saying, like
Well-
typos and stuff.
Yeah, there might be a misunderstanding of the question or.
Yeah, but the conflicting, I mean, the fact that they gave the references that are giving us conflicting answers to their presentation, I think is a good question to ask them. Like, it's not like we went prying and digging. They literally said, we did this job, here's the info, here's the phone number, and you call the person, and they're like, that's not jiving. So that's a good question to ask them and give them the opportunity to answer.
Yes, Adam.
So in terms of like next steps, how I would normally do this is, so let's say we're going to invite, it sounds like we're going to invite both in. So we will generally develop a list of set questions that you guys will end up rating off. Like the answers to those questions will be what you rate off of. Both firms need to be asked those same
set of questions.
Now, if during the interviews things come up, that's fine, but
I was
each,
gonna say, because I've already started writing my own list of questions.
and maybe we can incorporate those into the group. I don't know how
But
specific.
if that's gonna make it unfair to the other company, I mean, mine are purely based off of what I was reading and hearing.
Well,
So
you know,
do
maybe-
do we have to ask exactly the same questions to both? Because I think the proposals are different, so.
So,
In the past, it's usually been, come in, give a presentation, you got 20 minutes to present yourself to us. We're going to follow you up with 15 minutes, half an hour Q&A.
If
The
needed.
Q&A, Jason's done a couple of laps on this. It's about the presentation, it's not.
Okay. Just making
and
sure.
then
That's where
after
we're
their
off, but I
presentation is
wasn't-
concluded, my understanding and why I've allocated the amount of time that I have for our next meeting, is that I was told, I believe by Lee, that it's like 15 to 20 minutes for the presentation, 15 to 20 minutes for the Q&A. Then we, without speaking to each other, we fill out our evaluation of, after their presentation. And then we have a time for open discussion, but this is not with them in the room. And then, I also wanted to give us a personal moment if we needed a break in between, and then we would interview the next candidate and repeat.
I think we can have that discussion as we're grading, correct? So if the company A comes in first, they do their thing, we ask their questions, and we start grading. And we should be grading as they're presenting. But I think we can reach out and talk to other people and with you guys in the room and say, hey, did I hear this right? Or is there a question on this? And someone may have heard that
This is-
differently.
Lee,
I wanna
I'm
talk-
going based
yeah,
off of
I want
what.
to talk to Lee about it. It's honestly, Lee has taken some professional development on this more recently than me. She feels very strongly that there should not be discussion until each individual person has been rated, and I understand the logic. I have much more history of, along the lines of what Jason is saying, where, because like, maybe something will come up that you're not an expert on, so there could be reason. So let me connect with Lee on that, and we'll have a firm answer before we do it.
All right, I appreciate that. Okay, seeing as we're all in agreement, I believe, here, we're gonna interview both. And I appreciate your insight into, we could have made a short list shorter. But I think we would all feel more comfortable.
I think especially with the wording he read out loud, I think it sounds like you told everyone out there in the stratosphere, we're gonna short list and then do interviews and then make a decision. Well, if you only interview one.
It's funny because I actually heard it the other way. I heard
Short list.
we could make the short list whatever we wanted. So
In theory, that's your short
I'm
list.
open to the feedback because I thought as soon as you said that, oh, we could just have one. Yes.
And I hope this doesn't confuse things further, but so I'll try to keep it succinct. But sorry, is it Nicole?
Nicole.
Yeah, sorry. I'll remember it by next time. You made a couple comments about like, well, is the state gonna come at it? My bigger concern on it, I don't know that the state. I mean, I suppose the state could argue that we didn't do the process, but like in terms of coming at us, the more likely thing would be if a competitor, if we only shortlisted one and the other one felt slighted, they could try to protest.
That's what I'm saying.
But it wouldn't.
I think that's what she was
It wouldn't really be at risk.
And would that then cause the state to freeze the funding until all matters are settled?
It's more.
If I can speak to, so.
Yeah, this is what I don't know.
All right,
So
so
the state isn't a persistent entity within the project, day to day, month to month. There's the application process, there's the state grant, and that involves the legislature.
Yeah.
Really, after that, it's filing paperwork, they review some paperwork for progress payments.
Yeah.
Audit happens up to 5 years after
Either.
we're in the building and everybody, all the construction truck.
Okay.
And all they would, like, if there was a question about this particular one.
If Company B said we think this was shiesty,
They
it
would,
wouldn't stop progress.
they would say, do you have the advertisement and all the things, all the records, and it was like, it was advertised in the proper newspapers, yep, here's
And then we could have shown them, we
scores.
could show them the scores and be like, this is why. It wasn't 99 to 98, it was a
They're not someplace that anybody can appeal to.
It's like mercy inning at this
Right.
point, like in baseball. It's like, yeah, you're winning by a lot.
It's not a place.
Okay, so I was misunderstanding how you were, yeah.
I don't think you're making a bad decision by doing both, but I wanted to make sure you understood that, like, the state isn't gonna.
Okay.
come
it's
at
not
us.
they're not overseeing this.
You can just make sure that one company realizes if they do win the bid, that they can't, I don't know what that would, but
They aren't performing a secondary function.
they probably cannot apply to be the OM, if that's the case.
Well, I think that would
If they're
come under the
selected.
statement,
If they're
what is
selected.
most beneficial, and I think that's in the front of every bid, what is in the best interest of the town of Fairfield.
So,
It wouldn't be in the best interest of the town of Fairfield to have the same entity to be the
correct, but
chicken and
Well,
the
but-
guard.
But they still have a right, if they think they have this, it gives, perception, right? Just, it may not be the best interest from what we see,
They might back out.
but they may, right, and they may back out at that point because they want to put in for the OM position. So I think that has to be clear before they come in to present.
Well, we aren't under any obligation to tell them that. I mean, we've got to look out for the town's best interest, not the company's best interest.
Correct.
Touche.
But still, if they have the right to come in, and if they put us in a position where they present and they happen to be the best OM out there, then that's the best interest of the town too.
Well, they're coming in to present for this role,
Owner's rep.
the owner's rep role. So they're coming in to present for the owner's rep role. So that's what they should be
They must.
presenting.
They must know that.
They shouldn't, whether they know that or not,
One would
it's
think.
not up to us. It's not our responsibility to tell them. And I don't want to put us in a liability position where they may be better in another role, and because we tell them, like, it's not our job to make that decision for them.
They'll as a, these are all public. The next step would be searching for an architect. They will see that as, a public company once it's made live, right, on Bonfire, the next step, then they can go ahead and bid on that. If they have not been selected for this, then yes. I think Jason is just trying to say, if they were selected for this role, they wouldn't then be able to apply for the others. But I would think that they would know that.
Some companies do both now.
But whether they do it or not,
Like giving
That
the
would be
keys to the prisoners.
in my mind, that would be a huge conflict of interest, because why would you
Yeah.
represent the owners and then also work for them, and how would you fairly evaluate yourself?
Let's also just be serious.
well, and
It's a very slim shot that they're getting this portion of it anyway. Again, we're not dealing with somebody got a 90 and somebody got a 95. We're dealing with two drastically different scorings. It would take a miracle.
well, the other problem
To
is
change.
we don't want to appear to be telling them which job to apply for, which job to select, because we aren't steering any of the other opportunities towards them either. So there's no guarantee that they're going to get any of those other opportunities.
we leave.
And so if we tell them, you may want to skip this with a different opportunity, or, I don't want to give the appearance that we're steering any company towards any specific role either.
I can see that. I'm with her.
Okay.
Let's just interview them both, keep our mouths shut about next steps, and get through this.
They'll see the opportunities when they present.
If they're too dumb to know
just-
that they're not going to be allowed then to do that, then that's not on us. That's on them.
I mean, there's no reason during the interviews we couldn't make clear to both interviewees that the town's intention or expectation is that,
To hire separate companies for each of the different roles.
yeah.
Have we had a company that has done
No.
both?
So I was just trying to scribble out some
Architect
notes for Sal.
or
but-
No.
CM, no.
This is relatively new, but there's
starting.
two projects out there in the state that are the same
I did talk to at least one
company.
reference who said that it is now becoming industry standard, and, I happen to know this from,
Well, the state, the way that the state paperwork is set up, you actually have to account, for everything down to the penny to make sure you're going to do your filings correctly to get the correct reimbursement. They almost make it that you have to have a PMO on the project just to keep
it
all
going.
their stuff straight. All the stuff that has to be filed.
I am looking
one day.
forward to meeting both companies and making sure that there is a fair evaluation in person of their presentation, whatever they choose to present to us, whether it's directly from what they sent, or if they just want to, off the cuff, say, here's who we are, here's something about our company, and maybe they want to ask some questions about the project. I don't know. I feel like clearly one has been following along and maybe up to this point knows a little bit more, or they were pretty clear in understanding the building charge. However, maybe the other company just has not followed along, is not aware, doesn't know the ins and outs. And it has been, if you look over the course of the last year, it's been a bit choppy to follow. So I would maybe want to throw them a bone and say, if you have any questions for us, please let us know. And I'd be happy, and I know Jason would be happy, and Nicole too, to answer, a little bit more about the project and insight. And it is true that this is the first time we have an early childhood center that is purpose-built attached to an elementary school. We have one at a high school, but that is completely different than what we're doing here. We've had to make do with space that we had available in other elementary schools, right? That's why we have 3-site ECC. But I think this is the first time we're designing and building one from the ground up. And that's new. Maybe this is not something they're familiar with. So, okay. That being said, I would like to go into an executive session, if we can briefly, to discuss the financial fee proposals that each company did. I have to make, yeah, go ahead. No, I need someone else too.
Well, yeah, I was just waiting for you to say the
I'll-
motion.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss the financials on the two companies that presented, that put in for the project.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Like,
I have to invite, okay, Sal Morbido and Adam Tulin and Jen, I'm so sorry, your last name? Graham, to join us in said executive session. Okay, I need a motion to exit executive session.
Motion to
Dina, sorry, Dina, raise your hand first.
I'll make the
Nicole
motion.
will
I'll
be
make
our
the second.
second.
Yep.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Any abstentions? No. Okay, so we officially are entering back in after our executive session to discuss fee proposals for the two bidders. We are at number 7 on our agenda, open board discussion. This is the time I just want to follow up with Adam Tulin from purchasing. Our next steps, and for those that may be listening after the meeting is completed or watching online, our next steps will be to meet with the two companies in person on December 2nd. We are scheduled for this room. It is available, there's someone in here earlier in the day, so it's available starting at 10:30. So I'm going to ask that everybody's here on time so that we don't waste their time.
What time?
Well-
1 o'clock, right?
10:30.
This is the only meeting that will
The
be.
only meeting that will be, then I sent it out in the email, Jason.
I didn't get an email.
I copied you on it. Here, I will show you,
No worries.
right here. 10:30, we're planning on meeting. I'm gonna have someone from purchasing, I believe, reach out to the two companies to let them know, to make them aware that that is when we welcome them. Hopefully that works for their schedule. That's,
First one goes on at 10:30, the second one goes on when, then?
I
11:15?
I have 45 minutes per company with a 30-minute break in between. Let's just round up, say we do 10:30 to 11:30 for the first company. That half an hour break would take us to noon.
I think Jason.
Yes, Jason?
I think you want to go 10:30 to 11:30 with the first company?
Well, it'd be 10:30 to 11:15,
Yes.
or
I had 45 minutes in my email, but I think if, just assuming that their presentation takes the maximum amount of like 20 minutes, I don't want to cut anybody off, but if I have to, I will. You know, Lee's recommendation was 15 minutes per the presentation. Sal here at the table said that it might take like 20 minutes, so I'm just giving them that allocated amount of time. Then we follow up with 15 to 20 minutes of questioning, right? And then we do have to fill out our evaluation of them after their presentation, our interview with them. So that alone, right there, that's part of our 30-minute break in between. I think that 10:30 for the first company and then 12 o'clock for the second is what I was estimating. Adam, for us to communicate to the companies.
And if it doesn't take that long, then it doesn't take that long.
And if one of them says, I can't do 10:30, I'd rather take the 12 o'clock slot, and you want to flip-flop it, I'm going to leave that to your discretion. I like Jason's idea of one first and the other one kind of to give us a better idea of where we stand with the first one. However, it can be flexible according to their schedule. The goal I did put in my email was to be done by 2 p.m. because I know that's a long day for all of us, but I do think it's really important that we have as many members of the building committee present. I think it was Nicole who brought up earlier at the very beginning of the meeting, maybe it wasn't on record, they're taking time out of their day to come and give a presentation. I want to give them the respect that they're due. And this is, you know, a public process. We want to be sure that we're all in it and giving them, you know, as much of our attention as possible. Also, I don't want it to be via Zoom. I think that's going to be challenging. I understand if we have to have a couple of members via Zoom, but I would rather us all ask questions in person than toggling back and forth.
So that's way before too. You have, if anything, it looks like if you add it all up and then do a little, like you're talking 12:30, 1 o'clock.
I would love it,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
No, I was just asking so that when
I
they
know that we have the room.
reach out, what time do you, like, who do you?
10:30 and 12.
12, okay.
Yes.
It ends early, the other company usually is
And then
early.
They're usually.
Next-
They're usually in the hallway waiting.
next steps, Adam, would be, once we have our evaluations combined with the scores that we had from the bid online, we would have an indication that day.
Yeah, that,
And it's not like we offer them that day, but we were on a pretty aggressive
Yeah.
timeline because we have 2 meetings from the Board of Selectmen in which to present them with the possible, contract. It's either December 10th or December 17th. Our goal was to try to get in by December 17th, knowing that it was going to take time to get the contract ready.
yeah, so
So I don't wanna-
ideally we'll.
I don't want to have to like,
So we should be able to see our scores on that day and have a decision on who the committee recommends award to, which then we have some internal documents we do. There's an award recommendation resolution that purchasing prepares, and the purchasing authority, which is myself and the first selectman, sign that resolution. That's sort of like the first step in triggering a contract being developed.
okay.
For this, even though it's obviously a very big project overall, I had a preliminary conversation with the town attorney. We anticipate using our sort of standard professional services contract. So it should be relatively easy to get it ready for a Board of Selectmen meeting, as long as the awarded vendor doesn't have any major concerns with the document.
So do you think that December 10th is
It's possible.
viable?
I think it's viable.
It's realistic.
So we
I think
have
that
to
would be
get, let me
much better. I think the sooner, and
Farther
I think
from
Lee,
Christmas.
during our second meeting here, Adam, which I think you were online, but Lee was in person, during our second meeting of this committee, she sort of leaned toward December 17th because we thought that the process of getting the contract together was going to take a
Well, so
little bit
look,
longer.
like-
I'd have to go back and look at that meeting, but that was my
We weren't sure how many
understanding.
people were gonna bid. We were afraid that
Right.
we were
That's
gonna
true.
get so
But
many.
also-
And then we might have to have a follow-up and like a,
You gotta figure, they're gonna take just a couple days to look at the contract too. So if you actually do it on the
Yes,
10th,
they need
it's the
to have their
13th,
attorneys
14th.
review it.
But if you do it on the 17th, chances are you won't get it until after Christmas.
right, but the aggressive timeline, Jason, before, sorry, this predates you being a member of the committee, was so that we could submit state reimbursement documentation, and we are already asking for special legislation in order to do that. And we are also trying to, knowing that we've taken, sorry, this is my personal opinion on it, maybe this is not fact, but knowing that we've taken as long as we have just to get to this point, we are fully funded, yes, but we want to get to the next steps.
Correct.
We don't want to, we need to have a PMO to get to the next steps.
Yep.
My understanding from Angelus was that we need to have a PMO. We need to obviously have approval of funding before we can submit anything to the state. Sal?
Mission is it's started, we're working on it. PMO will help.
I want you to have that help,
Yep.
right? I mean,
We're
I
there.
think we all feel more comfortable with that, but because of, again, I think the concern here and why, one, this has taken longer than we thought. I think a year ago when the town working group was first, concocted, and the whole feasibility study was, commissioned, Spagals took it on. There was some talk about it being done by April to June of 2025. Then
What being done?
the town feasibility study, the multi-site feasibility study,
Yeah, I
the
was-
Spagals report.
yeah.
I know you weren't part of it. I'm telling you the
Yeah.
background because I think we are now closer to an end, for this year than we were initially kind of under the impression that we were going to have more time to submit these state reimbursements. I kept asking our former chair of the Board of Finance, Lori Charlton, if there was something that we needed to do to try to speed this FGALS report along so that we could get it done at a certain date. The answer to that, there was nothing that could be done, right? We just had to wait until FGALS was done, and of course, we understood that. She also was not comfortable answering any reimbursement questions because that was sort of out of her scope. And my understanding from talking with Angelus is that, and I know this is your job, but he's given me a little, you haven't been here in person, and maybe I didn't ask these questions while you were online, but was that we need to get these reimbursements in as soon as possible because there is a long line of new building projects across the state that are trying to get in before any state funding potentially is cut. And that may happen just given the national landscape and the apparent closure of the Department of Ed that has at least been proposed. So we'll see. Hopefully not. Hopefully not only in Connecticut, but all across, the United States, we can keep building new schools and at a price point that we all feel comfortable with and that, companies want to bid on. But I want to be sure that we're doing this the right way and on time and not delaying any further than we need to. And I also will just say, as a parent of Dwight, and I speak for other parents, we do not want to have to occupy that Dwight school any longer than absolutely necessary. So that's where the aggressive timeline comes from wanting to be sure that we've got the reimbursement rates in on time and that we can move forward with the project, but also so that we don't have to spend the next decade in the old building.
So, for the next steps, all right, so we're going, just fast forward, everything happens, we do the interviews, and God willing, light shines down, December 10th. Everything goes to the RTM, correct?
No, it's
What is
good,
it?
you're
No,
good to
sorry.
go.
It only goes to Board of Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen.
Just
That
for
gets
final
signed.
sign-off.
When,
And I believe
would
it's,
it be then how soon would the new owners rep be sitting in these meetings with us, start helping us like streamline?
So December 10th, again, this could be a little aggressive, the 10th, but let's say.
if not, then December 17th, fine.
Yeah.
That's what we were thinking initially.
I'm optimistic though. I think it's possible. I wouldn't say it if I didn't think it was possible. But it's, so on the 10th, the Board of Selectmen will authorize executing the agreement. The next step is
Who presents the agreement?
me.
Okay.
Maybe Sal or Angelus would be there as assist. Yeah, so if there's any project specific questions, you could be there if
I'm
you'd like.
happy.
Yeah.
Okay, so 9th we pick, 10th you bring it to them, and they,
Second,
Second we pick, not 9th.
sorry.
It's okay. I think we're gonna know by the end of the interview day, the
So
second.
just to be, just for
Second we
full
pick,
disclosure,
10th
so
you present.
in order for it to get on the agenda for the 10th,
Mm-hmm.
I will need to get back up to Jen Carpenter by the 5th. So that's or whatever that Friday
So that you can legally post it.
Sometimes she can give me to the Monday, but Friday, the sooner the better.
Yep.
So on the 10th, the Board of Selectmen will presumably authorize executing the agreement. The next step is we then send it to the vendor to sign first.
But they also have to have attorney review.
Right. And then, so hopefully that doesn't take more than a couple days, especially, it's a pretty standard document. They would then send it back to us, and then I would bring it to the first selectman to countersign fully. At that point, it's a fully executed agreement. We can issue a PO basically simultaneously to the vendor. So really, it comes down to how long does it take the selected vendor to sign the agreement. So I would assume.
So the 10th is a Wednesday. Our next meeting would be the 16th.
It would
So
be,
it's
it would be a
possible.
far cry, but it's possible
It's
that they would be
possible.
here on the 16th, and then the following week is Christmas week. So
We're done. We're not
So
back
our
until January 6th.
16th maybe, but then definitely then they would be here for the January 6th. And they would join every one of these meetings, correct?
Correct. In person normally.
That's awesome, yeah.
If we are in person, they usually come in person.
Okay. And that's when they can really start helping us learning like, okay, no, this is when you're gonna do that, this is, okay. So January 6th. Okay, that's good to
I mean,
know.
it's always possible, like, we could get curveballs, but yes.
I understand.
With a December
Yeah.
10th or even a
We're
December 17th.
laying out the best case scenario.
And we're doing this during a holiday.
And if it does happen on the 17th, just to correct your timeline,
Mm-hmm.
our last meeting before the break is the 16th. They could potentially have it decided on the 17th, in which case we would not have them with us until the 6th. And it's fine. Either way, it's fine. I'm not worried about
No, it
it.
would be the 10th he would present to the Board of Selectmen, send to vendor to sign.
No. If they don't, if it doesn't work for them.
Oh, if it doesn't work, yeah, of course, yeah.
And it works for the 17th instead.
Yeah.
Okay. I,
Nice.
for one, feel much better having this all mapped out. Also being in agreement that we will have both companies presenting to us and give them equal opportunity. I think that's really important, just in general. And, you know, if we have a short list going forward on the next phase and the architects, and we've got 9 people bidding or 9 companies bidding, and we want to, you know, make it more feasible for us to get through, like, say, 3 interviews. But 2 is doable. 2 is doable. I think we can do that quickly, be done with, and then we'll all feel better, like, we can put this baby to bed before the holiday break. That's my.
That's great.
Sal, do you feel good about all of this?
Going through
I'm
the steps.
throwing loosely things around that I know you have a big part in,
Yeah,
and
it
so
is.
I don't want you to feel uncomfortable with the timeline either. This was sort of laid out before, you know.
Right, you're gonna go through this, the steps are gonna be the steps, and the 16th, the 10th or the 17th, hope for the 10th. If it's the 17th, it's the 17th.
Okay,
And you move on, and, you know,
yeah.
and depending on who it is, yeah.
So everybody pack a lunch for the 2nd. It seems like we might be here for a
Get
little.
the pizza. They bring pizza.
Don't smell my Yeti cup.
No, they bring pizza.
Oh, wonderful.
Don't point at me. I don't have a $76 million check.
No, you guys
I
get the
can eat
pizza. No, they get the pizza. It's tradition.
Not BOE, maybe purchasing department.
Somebody gets the pizza.
I think we are all big kids and we're capable of packing our own
No.
lunches, but
Somebody get the.
I do know that it's.
I'm bringing you a slice of pizza.
Thank you.
Everyone else, you can go screw
No,
yourself.
you-
Just bring him some.
Not to be facetious, but usually something's brought in, either wraps
Oh, for your-
or
I'm
whatever.
not kidding.
Serious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If
And
you're
that's
asking
ham.
people to work through lunch, then you
Or
usually.
dinner
Or
at the
these
case.
selections.
So,
Because they
Keep
don't
that in
work.
mind when you're scheduling your
Right.
stuff. That's what most people do, 7
an
p.m.
agended, just to speak quickly to the town policy, an agended meeting with, you know, with a list of attendees and a proper agenda, you know, it's within the rules to have meals. We just have to figure out where it will get charged back to.
And that will be one of the first things for the PMO that you hire.
Can't figure out, right.
There you go. Okay.
Okay, all right, if everyone feels comfortable, I'd like to motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Second, both, I'm gonna pick Dina because she was right in front of me and she said it out loud verbally. All right, all in
He
favor?
raised his hand though.
Did raise your hand, Jason, I'm sorry.
Second it.
I,
All in favor, aye. Any abstentions? No. Okay. Adam, would you mind just staying a couple
309.
extra minutes?
308.
308, thank you,
You were
time
doing that for
308,
Mary?
thanks, Jen.
Very
I just want to talk about agenda and how I should list it
area.
for next week.
great to see everybody.
Thank you so much for coming.
Always a pleasure.